Large routes will include the Broadway Bridge and will conclude in North Shore Riverwalk Park in North Little Rock. Following the march, an organization fair is planned featuring local community groups, civic organizations, and service providers sharing information about programs and resources available in Central Arkansas. The event is intended to focus on community engagement and nonviolent participation. It is advised to come there early. Additional information about the event is available. Are you able to, do you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll ask to allow. Uh-huh. Even though you're gonna be stay on mute.
Okay.
And turn your phone all the way down. Volume. Mm-hmm. And then stay on, yep, you're on mute.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see you in the studio. Did you enter the studio?
Oh.
Okay, and it's gonna ask you your name, however you want it to show up on the screen.
In the studio.
Yes, in the studio. Okay, so now. So where are y'all? My goodness. I'm trying to get y'all on.
What's your name again?
Denise, Denise. So Tommy's on stage.
Yes. It's a beautiful Thursday morning here on the corner of 21st and Main Street in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's a little after 9 o'clock. You heard the music, so you know what time it is. It's time for the workplace here exclusively on KABF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people community radio. I'm your host of the workplace, Toney Orr. Yeah, like I said, it is a great day in studio. In studio, my fierce, beautiful, vivacious. What else? What no?
You'll be making us stuff. You
I
just
think you're making us stuff. The Reverend Dr. Denise Don Dale.
Grand Rising humans.
And we got a special guest in studio this morning. We're going to be talking about financial issues. We're talking about those getting ready to turn in 60. Making sure that you are prepared for what's coming next. Mr. Derek Woodis, can you just greet the audience real quick?
Hello, audience. I'm Derek Woodis.
And so it's, just first of all, I just want to thank all of you who listen, all our listeners, those of you who show up on Facebook, those of you who just want to thank everybody who showed up last Saturday night at the Whitewater Tavern for the celebration of Big Grip. It was an awesome time. A lot of musicians were there, a lot of KBF, a lot of the community. It was awesome, awesome time. And I tell you, it was a party. It was a party. So I'm glad and thank you for showing up. Any announcements today?
Oh, yes, I do have a couple of announcements. The first announcement is about the Kamala Harris, former vice president. So Fisher Shackelford 2026 awards dinner is happening on Saturday, April 25th from 2026 at the Wally Allen Ballroom, Little Rock Convention Center. 5 o'clock p.m. is the reception and 6 o'clock p.m. is the dinner and the program. And the keynote speaker is the former vice president Kamala Harris. And so you are invited to that. And I also just want to shout out to the Black Queen. I hope that she is listening right now, because the other day I was walking in an area that I know where the dogs are. The dogs are always behind the fence, but this was after me, and she saw me in trouble and she stood guard for me. She did not take out her so she could record me getting mauled by dogs. Instead, she stood ground. She was protecting me. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. So I really appreciate you, Queen.
Okay, all right. We're going to get right into the show. So, I got a phone call from Derek Woodis a couple of weeks ago,
Right.
and just talking about I was turning 60. I'm getting ready to turn 65 at the end of this year, December 23rd. I guess by AARP standards, once I hit 50, I was a senior citizen. But now 65, I think it's like 18. When you turn 18, you think so 65, I guess I can be official senior citizen. Ever claim I was a senior citizen, but I guess by the metric that we got.
What's wrong with being a senior citizen? What's wrong? You say you never claim it.
There's nothing wrong with being a senior citizen, but I don't classify because I think if I say I'm a senior citizen, that would make me feel old.
What's wrong with being old?
I don't want to be old.
Okay. You gotta talk to God about that. Be careful what you wish for too.
I want to be young and free. And stuff that and we're always trying to come up with things or topics that will help the community. And I think this is something that's going to be great for the community. And also, as we were talking, and he started a little bit of his background, come to find out that one of his relatives I knew, knew him, and he was an awesome athlete back in the day, and awesome basketball player back in the day. And I just like you just never know who you're going to meet and the connections you have. So, can you just give us a little more background about what it is that you do with Bankers Life and some things that are out there for people who not only are getting ready to turn 65, but people who are younger who need to, because the one thing we see now is that there's really such uncertainty, in the world. There's uncertainty financially, and people need to be what's going to happen.
Well, to start off, thank you for having us, Tony. But one of the biggest problems that the people are planning for the future, and we plan in 5 years, never too young for retirement, but a lot of people are confused what to do when you're 65. You start getting a lot of phone calls, you start getting a lot of mail about you approaching 65, and you don't know what to do. So if you're confused about it, what we it's like a table. We have 4 areas that we focus on. One being your health expenses. When you turn in 65, you want to make sure that your health is taken care of. Because in order for you longer, when you turn 65, you want your health to be taken care of properly. And so we find a way to get you the right plan. That can be a Medicare Advantage or a Medicare supplement. And we help in all those areas. And then we also help in Medicare. A lot of people don't know 7 out of 10 people, 70% of people when they're in their retirement age is going to need some type of extended care, long-term care. We also help in the areas of critical illness insurance, which is heart attack, stroke, and cancer. And so make sure that those areas of, so when if those areas some of those things happen to you, that you cover. And then we all know about life insurance, final expense insurance. We help in that area. A lot of people, when they approach the seniors, they got a lot of insurance on their job, but they don't have none outside their job. And a lot of times when you retire, they do not let you take your insurance that you have coverage on your job outside the job. And then retirement income, that can be your 401k, be any Roth accounts, any investments or IRAs, or just your Social Security or your bank account. We want to make sure you don't outlive your money. You want your money to grow and stay with you as long as you need. You want to make your money last as long as you need.
Historically, we had the Black community had not been as educated on financial planning. They have not been as educated to the years on issues like 401k or the planning. I know people have reached that Social Security age, and all of a sudden they're not anymore. They get the Social Security check, and now they're on fixed income,
Right.
and now they have to go back to work at Walmart or somewhere to supplement that income. And they feel that, hey, here's something that can help you in the long run. So
hold on just a minute, Tony. Lo is on the line. He says, in that planning process for retirement, Social Security requires a 90-day window when applying.
You get 90, like in a supplement, you can go up to 9 months. They give you a 9-month window. The government gives you 9-month one. You can sign up in a Medicare supplement 9 months before your 65th birthday. But in order to apply for your Social Security, normally 90 days out.
One thing that shows people when they get to that Medicare and Social Security age is this thing called the Part D or the supplemental. And I can you explain it, because I think if you don't have
you turn 65, if you still work, it's work. For Paul. Now, I'm just going to give you A is what we call facility insurance or a building that pays for any hospital, any hospice, any care hospital, or anything you go into a building as far as that goes. Now, I would say B, doctor's insurance, or you people that touch you, that covers anything like your doctors, ER, that's going to cover your if you had any durable medical equipment, it pays for that. Or any blood, anybody touches you. So B. Now D is drugs, and C, they added on C later on in the 90s, what that's called Medicare Advantage. That's where you see a lot of commercials, and then they say put your code in, file a plan you're able to get into.
Hold on just a minute. And so RL Dunn says a lot of feedback unbearable to hear. Are you saying you hear when you try to get security and feedback you don't appreciate? So clarify that for me, RL Dunn. And then Lo says, in addition, an individual must have 2 quarters of active income of work.
Well, in order to get Medicare, to qualify for Medicare, it's two ways in order to get, you need 40 quarters of work to get Medicare.
What's a quarter?
A quarter, that's 10 years of work history. 10 years, so you get one quarter. One quarter is it's a quarter of a year. So you get 10 years worth of, it's 40 quarters to qualify for that. You also, but once you turn 65, you can qualify, but you get what you call eligible. If you didn't work there, you would be on Medicaid. You'd be on Medicaid and Medicare. But you can also, in some ways, you can get Social Security under medical condition. Doctor can cut if you work 40 quarters under certain disability act.
So what is a good age? You say, I'm fresh out of high school,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just started a job, you
Mhm.
know, everything. And you had the job before one day. What is a good age to start planning, you know, thinking? Because someone once told me, I think it was me and Denise, may been having this conversation, that you more time as an adult than you ever will.
Right.
And so what's a good time frame to start planning for your retirement, planning for your future, and what are some of the things you need to do? What are some of the things you can do that may be inexpensive, but will benefit you in the long run?
I would say as soon as you can, as soon as you can start planning for retirement. As soon as you get a job, or if you got a 401k option, take that out. If that's 21 or 22, start taking it out then. Most employers give you a 5%. They give you 5%, and they'll match the 5%. I would at least do that. You know, at the bare minimum. You can look into other ways of. There's a lot of companies that go out there that can help you with setting up an IRA account, and you can do that. So I say as soon as possible, because you never know. You know, the earlier you start, the more you would gain when you get retired. So you figure most people when they retire, they only make a portion of what they already made on their income. You know, so only maybe your income is cut down a lot of times half or 75% of what. And a lot of people, you know, you barely making it what you get, but then now you cut that in half.
Any questions? And so let's get a little background. So how did you get started in this field? What drove you to say, hey, you know, this is what I want to do?
Well, in the pandemic, I'm an ex-restaurant manager. I managed Taco Bell for years. I managed I managed Cracker Barrel. I was at Cracker Barrel, and at the pandemic, at the height of back in 2020, they downsized management. And so when I left Cracker Barrel, I didn't take I only had insurance on my job, and I realized how wow, you know, and so that's when I came into got into this field where I help seniors, I help my people, people I know to plan for retirement and the life insurance. Couldn't take none of my insurance with me. I couldn't take none of my my long-term care with me. My health insurance, it was going to be covered out. I could do that, but you know, but then the price skyrockets when it's covered out. So now, and I said, well, I'm gonna get in this field to try to help people.
So Lo says, have the guest explain that you do not have to be 65 to receive Social Security. An individual can obtain it early, but there is a penalty.
Okay, you don't have to be 65. Sometimes if you get on disability, and sometimes under doctors, I don't know the actual things what the doctor will require of you, but the doctor can uh, can sign you up and get you to get qualified, and then you have to go down to the Social Security office, and they will qualify you to be on Social Security.
Yeah, because you know, Social Security sends out every year.
Mhm.
They send you out a little booklet,
Mhm.
and it tells you all the money that you
Right.
paid in for all the years you
Right.
worked, and then it tells you that if you decide to
Retire,
retire now, you
Yeah.
can get this.
Right.
And so, from my understanding, 62 is the age that you can start applying.
Right.
If you're not applying for disability, 62 is the age that you can actually start applying for Social Security. But you only get, I think it's like 30% of what your total
Right.
is.
Mhm.
And the longer you go out, like with me,
Full retirement is 67.
it's 67.
Right.
Some people it's there's some that are 65, there's some that are 66. I think
It depends on your birthday when you were born.
yeah.
Most people now, that are still working is 67, your full retirement. But you can at 67, you can get your full retirement. Plus, you can work as many hours you get.
Right. And I think if you go all the way to 70,
They give you a little extra kick.
they give you a little extra. So
But should people be concerned because we've heard some things about Social Security not having enough money to maintain all of the people who would need it?
I think you can be concerned, and I don't say concerned. I just go on and I don't know if people ought to be concerned about Social Security to be ending. It hadn't ended yet. They've been saying that for years that Social Security is going to end and it's not going to be around for us. And I guess we should be concerned too because the people that are running Social Security, government, it seems like they're unstable. And so I'm trying to clarify the question and because you're going to take it early.
I don't know if there's going to be anything to live off.
Right. Yeah. Well, you should be concerned. That's why you need to go into other investments for 401ks or try to set you up a raw 401k or 403b, outside of an employer or invest. A lot of people invest in land or some things like that. But you should look into invest in something back for your lean years of your life. And we pray that Social Security will be around when we need it.
I don't know if prayer gonna help.
Caller, you know that?
They talking.
Yes, yes. Oh, I'm sure. Yes, can you?
Yes.
In my case, I went out on disability. I think it's at 62. At 62, so when I went out on disability, then I got my full Social Security benefit. The max I could get at 62. Then when I got 65, then they just put me on straight Social Security. But one thing, whatever happens, you can't live your life with fear and everything. Fear this, fear that, that's the way I feel. If I'm afraid of everything, then I'm bringing different things in my own life. The world gonna come to the end. I done heard that for 80 years. Thank you.
But I don't think this is something that you should take lightly. I don't think it's about being scared. I think it's about being cautious. I think it's about being aware, and I think it's about being prepared.
Mhm.
And you said the right word at the end, Denise, prepare.
Mhm.
And we've had on our different shows, we've had financial planners, we've had investment people, we've had different people on talking about this, and trying to be prepared. I know a lot of people, there are people who say, well, I'm not worried about saving, I'm not worried about this because, I'm gonna have Social Security at the end. And so many people are like I said, they end up on that fixed income. And life changes, taxes go up, just different things. And now they feel like, hey, I wasn't prepared for this. And so when you start talking about investments, you talked about a raw 401. Can you explain to our listening audience what are those things? What are the
401k is normally with your employer. Raw 401k is something that you can set up, outside of your employer. Something that you can do. You can invest so much a month or so much monthly or yearly into an account it acts as a 401k.
But what about annuities? I'm not sure that people understand annuities.
Annuity is It's annuities insurance on your money. It's normally most annuities they act in this way. They're invested into the market, but they don't increase as the market goes up high. It doesn't increase; it kind of stays level. But also when the market decreases, it stays flat. So it's a safe way to invest your money in that you won't lose the money.
And so, explain to me, I hear a lot of people talk about trust, that they're putting their money in a trust,
Mhm.
that when they retire or when they get to a certain age, the trust pays out to them.
Right.
They give them a monthly stipend
Mhm.
that,
That's basically an annuity where you
Okay,
invest your
okay.
money in, and a trust is what you would do. You would set it up. You have to have a certified financial advisor. They would come in. They would set it up where to pay you out over time, monthly or whatever. And that's where it's money is set. Once you get 72, all the money that you have in your 401k is called RMDs, required minimum distribution. You have to start paying. See, when your money is in 401k, it's not being taxed. But it have at age 72, they've raised it from 71 to 72. Well, once you reach 72, the money will have to start being taxed. And so you have to start taking some of the money out.
Okay, okay. Now, let me call it.
I'd also think that I think it would be great if you talked a little bit about how these processes that you are explaining right now could also be legacies. You can leave this wealth to your children or
Right.
to your spouse, all of those things, so it helps to generate wealth for your family.
Right. And-
He'll take the call and then you can.
Calling you on that.
Good morning, your guest, this is Denise Toney. 81 years old, retired on Social Security at 61. I heard somebody say when you reach a certain age, you get incentive. Because you're denied if you earn over a certain amount of money, you aren't able to get Medicaid assistance. Matter of fact, I had mine denied in your district. I want to know, Part A and Part B of Medicare, is that supposed to be optional, the Part B, or is that supposed to come automatically?
Part A is everybody that's 65 and older. You eligible for Part A, and if you're eligible for it, Part B is optional if you have a different type of health insurance. So if you're still working, some people are still working in their 70s or older, and they on their employer plan as far as the health benefits. And so
I'd like to ask this question again. You said you can earn, you at certain age. I retired on full Social Security, never had
uh
disability or anything like that. Just full Social Security at 62.
Mhm.
And at that time it was 62.
Okay.
There are parameters that you have to have. You cannot earn over a certain amount of money to qualify for Medicaid. And you mentioned that after a certain age you can earn what you want. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so I don't know when you retire, but right now, if you take your retirement early at 62, you only can make a month. You can work, they allow you to work if you get your Social Security at 62. If a person elects to get their Social Security at 62, they can work, but they can't work more than so many, make so much amount of money. I think it's like 24,000.
Right.
So if you make more than 24,000, penalize your Social Security. Take some.
The number is 16,000 something for Medicaid. If you earn over $16,600, you aren't allowed to have the Plan B or Medicaid for the state of Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
That's also the amount that the federal government charges if you're a veteran.
Right.
If you earn over that amount, then you have to take co-pays because these are restrictions that I've had to endure.
Right.
I'm told that it's not the way it's supposed to be, but
once you
I've always had to pay that amount back to them, and they take out my Social Security.
right, that's what they normally do. Now,
They actually take all of it from my Social Security. They don't just charge it and let you have a payment plan. They take it all out and then you'll have to pay $200-something a month for Medicaid. You're aware of that?
Well, once you get 67, see, once you get 67, you will not be penalized. You were allowed to make as much money as you want once you get 67.
Well, I'm 81 years old. I'm being penalized right now. So how do I get in touch with you?
My phone number is if you got a pen, it's 501 399579. It's 501 399. Yes, sir.
I got it. I got it, Ezekiel. I'll send it to you right now.
All right, thank you, man.
All right, thanks for the information. I'll be getting in touch with you, sir. Thank you for what you're doing.
Now, look, if I can explain that. So if you take your Social Security at 60, like you said, you make 30, it's 30% drop off of what you get at 62, and then at 65. Most people retire at 65. But once you get to 67, you still will be penalized if you make more than a allowed amount. Now, once you get 67, the government allows you to work as much as you want, and you can make as much as you want, much money as you want, and get your Social Security.
Yeah, that's what that was one of my concerns with it's all this talk about privatizing Social Security, and Social Security may not be there by 2030 and all this.
Mhm.
And I started looking into it, and it was my mindset for a minute that, well, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get mine now before it's not there. But
Right.
then when I looked at it, it said, hey, if you do it at 62 or 63 or even 64
Mhm.
or before 67, you're going to be penalized,
Mhm.
and you can only make a certain amount.
Right.
So, but if you go to 67, then it just
Yeah.
a question
Mhm.
because I'm a veteran.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't do a copay. I don't have to have a copay. So based on my income, just me, my income, my health care through the VA is paid for.
Right.
So once I turn this year, I have to go through the process of applying for Medicare. Now, I blend because I know they have different programs with VA that will blend Medicare and the VA care into one where I still won't have to pay it. Like the Part D, I won't have to get a supplement
Right.
because they'll take care of it.
Part
So for veterans who are coming, who are in my situation, how does that work?
Well, we got plans that help, and Medicare Advantage plans that do help along with the veterans. It goes and has certain plans. It depends on what we do. Each case by case is different. We want to make sure your doctor's in line. So do you go to the VA? Just question: do you go to the VA for your doctors, or you got outside? So what we have plans that works along with the veteran, but with the veterans. That kind of just supplement the plan. Well, I would, if a person's on TRICARE for life or any type of, I would suggest that they stay on that, and we'll find a plan to go supplement on with that, with those plans.
I do think that it's important. It isn't. I do think that it is important for people to know your phone number. Mac was trying to get Ezekiel was trying to find his pen, and so I was just for time's sake. But right now, if you could let people know how to get in touch with you, I think that would be great.
You can reach me at you can just call me at this. My phone number is 501 399 9579.
Say it again.
501 399 9579.
Thank you.
And also, so explain what's the difference between
I'm sorry. Can we go back to my question about legacy,
yeah.
leaving the wealth? Because it was a caller that came in before you were
Okay.
able to answer to talk about the importance of, because I know one of the callers was like, listen, you don't need to be scared. You don't need to be worried about this. But this is really something that you can also do that will give your children, your whoever it is, your spouse, some help, a leg up, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, a lot of ways you want to make sure you leave something for your family behind. Just think about it. If you had a two-income household, Once you pass, your income is gone, and most of your bills are still there. Your car note's still there. Your mortgage, rent, or whatever, just daily expenses are still there, and that individual, that income is gone. So you have to do wealth planning. Uh, Life insurance is a great way to help offset that. Uh, and also, one of the biggest areas that we find out in this industry is most people have life insurance, they have health insurance, they have car insurance, they have all those things, but they do not have long-term care insurance. And this is the number one way that a lot of people, we find out, is becoming impoverished, because once you go, if you go to Medicare for nursing home facility, that you have to go to a Medicare spend down, which they spend, take all your assets, take your house, and all that, and leave you with $40 a month to live with. So if you know anybody ever been in a nursing home, a lot of times, if the spouse is still living, they will let the another spouse live in the house, but the nursing home would take control of the house, and then they would have control of the house. You have an option to buy it back, but once that person passes and the other spouse passes, uh, the heirs. And so there's a lot of ways with long-term care. We're finding out. You see commercials all day long about life insurance. You see them about Medicare. You see them about Geico car insurance and all those things. But it's only 6 companies that's in the United States that sell long-term care. And 7 out of 10 people is going to need some type of long-term care in their lifetime. And that's one of the biggest problems that we find out with a lot of seniors, and we talk to a lot of people that's going into Medicare, because people longer, they're living longer, but they don't see themselves. They're healthy when they're 65 and 60, but they don't see themselves when they're 80 that they're going to need.
So you just said, and I've never heard this.
I know you're right about it. It happened with my daddy.
And then we're the number one. Just want to put that out there. We're the number one company. It's only 6 companies that sells. I think us and Mutual Omaha and New York Life and a couple other people. But we're the number one long-term care company in the country.
And who are you?
We're Bankers Life.
So did I hear you correctly when you talked about? So you have to put your loved one into a long-term care facility under is it Medicare or Medicaid?
It's on. You have to go to a Medicare spend down. What that is you only have so much money in your bank account if you're in a nursing facility. You only will have to you have to sell everything. They have to, because the average cost of a nursing home facility at nationwide around 50,000. Let me get my computer. I can pull up the actual number.
Well, no, you don't have to do that.
So they will take it.
Yes.
So you just said that Bankers Life was the number one long-term care insurance company in the States. In the United States. I would like for you to respond to this. This is based on claim denials, customer complaints, and financial instability. Companies frequently cited as having poor long-term care insurance practices include Bankers Life and Casualty. Is that you? And it says policyholders often cite massive unexpected premium hikes and difficult claims processes.
Well, we only thing I can go is off what we have right here. I got the data to show that we're the number one company in the country. It used to be hundreds of companies, but we're the number one company. I'm saddened by that.
But what makes you the number one company? Considering the.
Okay, I need to go to my other screen. Did I go off?
Yeah, that's okay. I'll take you off the stage. You can.
uh, you know, like, younger people. So, you can hear it.
See, yeah, they see what happened with the United Healthcare CEO. They see what's happening in the insurance market and you know, and a lot of people are afraid or they are fearful
Right.
that hey, once I file my claim, you know, especially I've been paying this, premium, and there's this is going to be taken care
Mhm.
of. Now,
Well, here's a place as far as uh,
But according to what I just read that you handed to me, is that it's talking about the products that you offer. So it's talking about it from the professional end. But the comments I read are from the client's end.
Right.
And so, yes, you might have top quality product, but how are you handling the people? And so that's what I'm offering up.
Well, we try to if your doctor qualifies you, if you qualify for to receive the long-term care, you have to in certain ways you have to, you know, you have to go about filing the claims. Now I'm not on the claims departments of how to claim, but I for everyone that I know that I've wrote a policy on, they have their claims have been paid. So that's the only one I can go by experience.
no, so this is a question I asked earlier, and you know that's the one thing we love about our show is that it's just a free flow. There's never no direction you're going to go in. So what uh, between what's the difference between term and whole life, and which one is best? I think we had. I can't think of the group that we had that the company we had on last. We're talking about insurance,
Mhm.
what was it, investment?
What kind of insurance? What difference between term? Term is just like what it's for a period of time. Uh, it's normally 10, 20 years. It's normally at a low price in whole life insurance.
Uh, I can be able to take care of them
and just put them in a facility. If we do, it would be like he,
You, you lose any money.
Technically on the term, on the term, it's only for the term, yeah, and it doesn't, it's not, a lot of times they give you an option of converting to whole. Some companies do give you an option to convert to whole. And normally after the whole, after the end of the term, it will, current age. A lot of people, they don't keep, you know.
Now, with whole life, even though it may be a little higher,
Mhm.
but whatever you get to the whole point, you're able to borrow, you're able to.
Yeah, if you normally if you have cash value built up in it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so you borrow from the
'Cause I
cash
think
value.
I know that there are a lot of people who have these whole life policies, and once they get to a certain age,
Came okay. I came up to Little Rock just to come up here, just look for a job. My brother had moved up here and came up here, got a job. That's when I got in the restaurant industry.
And so, do you miss?
I miss the people. Yeah, I miss the people.
So, do you think that you'll make it to restaurant management?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? So, you love this? What do you love about your work? Tell us that already.
Yeah, because I like helping people.
Oh, because you like helping people. What church do you go to?
I go to New Calvary Temple Church of God in Christ.
What's it?
1120 Bishop Lansdowne.
Oh, okay.
Street
I know you wrote that on here. That's your community involvement. You go to church. And what about your wife and children? Is it your wife? Is it might be a husband? It just says married, so I don't know if it's
I'm married to a woman.
Okay.
I mean,
So we call it community radio.
I'm just saying, there are other ways to be.
Yeah, I'm married to a woman, and we've been married for 16 years, and we have 3 children.
What's your queen's name?
Her name is Renita.
All right, Renita, you hear your husband?
And so before we get off there, what if you had to give say 3 things
Mhm.
that to our audience that is so important when it comes to financial planning, when it comes to retirement, when it comes to the long game,
Right.
as you this journey of life, what would it be?
First thing I would plan. Sit down with your loved ones. Sit down if you're married or whatever. Sit down with your loved ones. You may be the CEO of your family. The person that's not the CEO, they need to be involved and know what is paid out. What do you have? A lot of couples, one person pays all the bills, one person does all the planning, the other person, they don't know what actually communicate that with them.
And I think also when you talked about the planning part, I think that we have to also get over the fact many of us don't want to talk about death and dying, but we have got to talk about death and dying in order to talk about these plans. Would you agree with that?
I agree with that.
So when the caller says we can't be afraid, we are going to die. That's just a fact of life. And so we've got to be able to make these conversations more comfortable, normalize them so that you can be prepared, because I know as a pastor, I have seen it. Somebody dies and everything, nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows where anything is. Nobody has the paperwork. Nobody has anything at all. And it causes even more chaos in the most vulnerable of moments when you've lost somebody that you love.
Yeah, you have to sit down. I always tell everybody to once a year, when everybody, the family gets together, don't be embarrassed and don't judge the person that don't. Hey, do you have insurance to bury? That's the first thing. So we won't be a hardship. And then plan to get that person, and then plan on, hey, if I pass, how would my loved one, how would my wife live? Would they have to hurry up and try to figure out, sell the house and sell everything in the house? A lot of people, you need to get enough if you can, if you're health qualified, and if you have enough income, plan for those things that the person won't have to leave, don't have to sell the house.
I also think that, and I want you to tell me what you think about this, but I also feel like when you're part of this planning process, it's for I like the way you said CEO, for the whoever it is that might die, for that part, not everybody, for everybody to share how they would like to see the money spent. Because I know for a fact that if I died and I found out that my family spent all of that insurance casket and my funeral, I would be upset about that. I am leaving this legacy to help you, to protect you, to make sure that you are still able to live your abundant life that was promised to you. I don't want you to put me in no chromed out, casket so I can be like, and everybody got to walk down with doves and all. So what do you think about that?
I think that's very smart that you spend all that, the money on, and then you go to. At most funeral homes, I had a close member to my family passed recently, and I advised the person going and tell them, this is how much you have, and this is what you want to spend on the funeral. And the funeral home worked within that budget.
Yeah, because
a cremation is also an option, which is even cheaper than a funeral.
Yeah. In the Bible that says you shouldn't be cremated.
As a matter of fact, the Bible encourages in the Bible, they say you need to put in the ground. The Bible says ashes to ashes and dust to dust.
Because a lot of times what people do, because one of the first things that funeral director is going to ask, do you have insurance?
Of course.
And they say, yes, we'll take care.
And they're also going to take advantage of you in this moment because they know how much you are hurting. They know that you are grieving. So as much as they can get out, and the reason why they're able to is because you're not ready for the conversation, because you haven't been having this conversation at home. You haven't been sharing this information with your children and your loved ones. So now with everything coming down on you, here comes somebody saying, oh no, I'll help you. I'll do this, I'll do that. And you trust them. And that is not a smart move.
Two things I want to say, we only got a little time left. One is a fact that you need to do. One is just my opinion. Fact number one, you need to do a living will, because one of the worst things that can happen, and I see it every day, all the time, someone has, there's no will, everything goes in probate. Now you got to go through, everybody's arguing about who go get what. That's one thing. The second thing, like I said, is my opinion. I cannot see, in my opinion, put $15,000 in the ground. That's the average roll now, between $10,000-$15,000. And like you said, Denise, that's money they can use for something else instead of putting in the ground.
So, Mr. Witters, would you just give us again information on how to get in contact with you, where you are, whatever so that people can reach out?
I work for Bankers Life. We're on Financial Center Parkway in Shackford in the Kirkpatrick building. You can reach me directly at 501-399-9579.
Thank you.
Any last words?
We want to live in a world that is more just, more equitable, more inclusive, and more peaceful. We have got to learn how to live and love better, differently.
All right. Well, thank you to the listening audience. I thank you, Mr. Willis, for coming in
Yes, sir.
and giving us that information. I hope this information was valuable to you. I hope you will take heed to it and maybe change some things. Be prepared, start to plan some things for your future and for the future of your loved ones. Thank you for tuning in once again. See you on Tuesday for Community Voices. Next for workplace, continue to listen to KABF 88.3 the rest of the day. We thank you for your support. See you.